Abel Makonnen Tesfaye, known to the world as The Weeknd, was born on February 16, 1990, in Toronto, Canada, in the working-class suburb of Scarborough. His life began far from the spotlight, in a neighborhood shaped by diversity and struggle, where his journey from a shy, insecure boy to a global music icon took root. Abel's story is one of resilience, driven by a potent mix of cultural heritage, personal hardship, and an unrelenting passion for music. His early years were marked by the challenges of a broken family, financial strain, and a sense of isolation. But these experiences fueled his creativity, laying the foundation for a sound that would redefine R&B. From his Ethiopian roots to his rebellious teenage years and the anonymous YouTube uploads that sparked his rise, Abel's childhood and early 20s were a crucible that shaped The Weeknd's enigmatic persona and haunting music. Abel's parents, Makonnen and Samra Tesfaye, were Ethiopian immigrants who arrived in Canada in the late 1980s. Part of a wave of East Africans fleeing political unrest in Ethiopia, they settled in Scarborough, a sprawling suburb east of Toronto known for its high-rise apartments and vibrant mix of cultures. From Caribbean and South Asian to African and Middle Eastern communities, this multicultural backdrop would seep into Abel's music, giving it a unique emotional texture. When Abel was a toddler, his parents separated, leaving his mother and grandmother to raise him in a modest household. Samra worked long hours as a nurse and caterer to make ends meet, often leaving Abel in the care of his grandmother, who played a pivotal role in his upbringing. She taught him Amharic, Ethiopia's official language, which he learned to speak before English, and took him to Ethiopian Orthodox Christian services, where he heard traditional Ethiopian music. These songs, with their soulful melodies and themes of longing, left a deep imprint, later reflected in his signature vibrato and pained vocal style. As noted by music critic Hannah Georges in *The Atlantic, Abel's connection to his Ethiopian heritage gave him a sense of pride. But growing up without a father was a constant challenge. Makonnen was largely absent, starting a new family elsewhere, and Abel rarely saw him. This absence fostered a mix of independence and loneliness, as he yearned for connection. He later told Rolling Stone in 2020 that he always wanted a sibling to share his world, a wish that underscored his isolation. Despite the hardships, his mother's sacrifices and his grandmother's nurturing instilled resilience, while stories of his parents' journey from Ethiopia to Canada inspired him to dream beyond his circumstances. Scarborough in the 1990s was a tough place to grow up. Known for its economic struggles and pockets of crime, the neighborhood was a far cry from Toronto's glitzy downtown. Abel's family lived modestly, relying on Samra's income to survive, and the financial strain was ever present. He was aware of his mother's hard work, later recalling in a 2015 Complex interview, "My mom worked her ass off to keep a roof over our heads. I saw that struggle." This reality made Abel feel like an outsider, as if the world was stacked against him. As a child, he was shy and reserved, struggling to fit in at school. He attended West Hill Collegiate Institute, a local high school, but found it hard to connect with peers. His introverted nature made him a target for teasing, and he felt awkward among more confident classmates. "I was always the quiet kid," he told The New York Times in 2016. "I didn't know how to talk to people." Instead of socializing, he retreated into his imagination, finding escape in comic books and movies. Characters like Batman, Spider-Man, and Wolverine captivated him with their stories of resilience and duality, mirroring his own sense of being caught between worlds. He dreamed of becoming a filmmaker, crafting narratives that could transport audiences, a passion that would later influence his cinematic music videos. Music was another refuge. His early exposure to Michael Jackson's Thriller was a revelation, with songs like Dirty Diana showcasing raw emotion and storytelling that mesmerized him. He also loved Prince's theatrical flair, R. Kelly's soulful R&B, and the melancholic indie rock of the Smiths, whose lyrics spoke to his alienation. Post-punk bands like Joy Division, with their dark, atmospheric sound, further shaped his taste. His grandmother's love for Ethiopian singer Aster Awek introduced him to unique vocal styles, while his mother's record collection brought American soul and pop into the mix. This eclectic blend of influences, Ethiopian melodies, hip-hop from Scarborough's streets, and Western pop began to form the foundation of his genre-defying sound. Despite the challenges, Abel found joy in small moments. He loved watching X-Men cartoons, sketching comic book characters, and losing himself in Wolverine's loner persona, which resonated with his own life. These creative outlets were a lifeline, helping him cope with the isolation of growing up in a single-parent household in a rough neighborhood. But as he entered his teens, his restlessness grew. School felt like a dead end, and he was eager to break free from Scarborough's constraints. At 17, in 2007, he made a drastic choice. He dropped out of Birchmount Park Collegiate Institute, where he had transferred after West Hill. With his friend Lamar Taylor, he grabbed a mattress and left home, moving into a small apartment in Toronto's Parkdale neighborhood, a gritty area known for its artistic scene and rough edges. This move was a declaration of independence, but it came with chaos. Abel and his friends, including Hailey Eileen, formed a close-knit crew, living a carefree yet precarious life. They relied on public assistance and odd jobs to get by, often stealing food from supermarkets to eat. "We were stealing from supermarkets, just trying to eat," Abel recalled in a 2015 Pitchfork interview. The group dove into alcohol and drugs, experimenting with marijuana, ecstasy, and cocaine as a way to escape their struggles. These experiences would later fuel the dark, hedonistic themes in his music, with lyrics that captured the fleeting highs and crushing lows of excess. In Parkdale, Abel worked a retail job at American Apparel on Queen West, folding clothes and stocking shelves. The job was tedious, but it gave him space to dream. During breaks, he scribbled lyrics, imagining songs that reflected his life, late nights, fleeting romances, and existential musings. At first, he didn't see himself as a performer, plagued by insecurity about his voice and appearance. "I hated my voice," he told Complex in 2013. "I thought I'd write songs for other people." But his friend Lamar, a creative visionary who later became The Weeknd's creative director, saw potential and urged him to record. In 2010, Abel met producer Jeremy Rose, who was working on a dark R&B project called The Weeknd. Rose recognized Abel's raw talent and invited him to collaborate. They recorded 3 songs, What You Need, Loft Music, and The Morning, in a Toronto studio, blending slow, moody R&B with electronic beats. The tracks were raw, with lyrics about love, drugs, and late-night escapades, reflecting Abel's life in Parkdale. But Abel and Rose parted ways due to creative differences, with Rose wanting a different direction. Abel kept the songs and the name, dropping the E to avoid confusion with a Canadian band called The Weeknd, thus becoming The Weeknd. At 20, in late 2010, Abel took a bold step that would change everything. He uploaded the 3 songs to YouTube under the name The Weeknd, using black and white photos of unnamed women as thumbnails to hide his identity. This anonymity was born from his shyness and fear of judgment. "I didn't want people to know who I was," he told The Guardian in 2016. "I was scared of being judged." The mystery drew listeners in, letting the music stand on its own. The Weeknd's voice, high-pitched, emotive, and tinged with Ethiopian influences, cut through the polished R&B of the time. The production, with its eerie synths and slow tempos, felt like a late-night confessional. In early 2011, the songs caught the attention of rapper Drake, who shared them on his OVO blog, sparking a wave of interest. Major outlets like Pitchfork and The New York Times began covering the mysterious artist, praising his fresh take on R&B. At American Apparel, Abel's co-workers played his tracks in the store, unaware that the quiet guy folding shirts was behind them. Fans speculated about The Weeknd's identity. Was he a solo artist? A band? The enigma became a marketing tool, amplifying his allure. Abel leaned into it, avoiding interviews and communicating through cryptic Twitter posts. In March 2011, The Weeknd released his debut mixtape, House of Balloons, a 9-track project that included What You Need, Loft Music, and The Morning. The mixtape was a revelation, blending R&B with indie rock and electronic influences. Songs like High for This and Wicked Games showcased Abel's soaring falsetto and unflinching lyrics about love, drugs, and despair. The production, led by collaborators Doc McKinney and Alangelo, featured haunting samples, like Susie and the Banshees' Happy House, adding a cinematic feel. Released for free online, House of Balloons reached a wide audience and earned critical acclaim. Pitchfork called it a stunning debut, and the New York Times praised its genre-bending approach. It was nominated for the 2011 Polaris Music Prize, a major Canadian award, a rare feat for a free release. The mixtape's raw honesty and innovative sound felt like a diary of Abel's Parkdale life, nights of excess, fleeting connections, and existential thoughts. Abel followed with 2 more mixtapes in 2011, Thursday in August and Echoes of Silence in December. Together, they formed the Dawn Trilogy, each exploring different facets of his sound. Thursday leaned into darker, experimental tones, with tracks like The Zone, featuring Drake, while Echoes of Silence highlighted his vocal range and emotional depth, especially on Same Old Song. The trilogy solidified The Weeknd as a rising star, with a fanbase spanning underground blogs to mainstream listeners. His first public performance came in July 2011 at Toronto's Mod Club, a 600-capacity venue. The show was shrouded in secrecy, no guest list, no cameras, and tickets sold only in person at Rotate This, a local record store. Fans lined up to see the mysterious artist. Unsure what to expect, Abel, nervous but determined, took the stage in a hoodie, his dreadlocks framing his face. His raw, powerful vocals silenced doubters, proving he was more than a studio creation. The performance marked The Weeknd's emergence from the shadows. Though he remained elusive, he began collaborating with Drake, contributing vocals to tracks like Crew Love and Take Care on Drake's 2011 album Take Care. He also opened for Drake at concerts, gaining exposure to larger crowds. These shows were daunting for the shy 21-year-old, but they built his confidence. By late 2011, The Weeknd was no longer just a YouTube phenomenon, he was a name to watch. With a growing reputation as a visionary, Abel Tesfayé's early life was a crucible of hardship and creativity. Born to Ethiopian immigrants in Scarborough, he faced poverty, a broken family, and isolation, yet found solace in music, comics, and movies. His Ethiopian heritage and Toronto's diverse soundscape shaped his unique style. Dropping out at 17, he embraced a chaotic life in Parkdale, inspiring raw lyrics. The anonymous YouTube uploads of 2010, boosted by Drake, launched him into the spotlight. House of Balloons and the Dawn Trilogy cemented his place in music, transforming a shy teen into an enigmatic artist ready to take on the world. Abel Tesfayé, now firmly established as The Weeknd, stood at a crossroads after the success of his 2011 mixtapes House of Balloons, Thursday, and Echoes of Silence. These free releases had turned him from an anonymous YouTube artist into a rising star. Praised for his raw, genre-bending take on R&B, by 2012, he was ready to transition from the underground to the mainstream, a move that would test his ability to balance artistic vision with commercial demands. The years from 2012 to 2018 marked a transformative period in his career, as he signed with a major label, released chart-topping albums, and became a global pop icon. This phase saw him evolve from a mysterious figure with dreadlocks to a polished performer headlining sold-out arenas, all while navigating the pressures of fame, personal relationships, and creative reinvention. Through albums like Trilogy, Kiss Land, Beauty Behind the Madness, and Starboy, The Weeknd redefined R&B, blending it with pop, electronic, and funk influences, and solidified his place as one of the world's biggest artists. After the critical acclaim of his Dawn Trilogy mixtapes, Abel caught the attention of the music industry. In September 2012, he signed a deal with Republic Records, a major label under Universal Music Group, while also launching his own imprint, XO, to maintain creative control. This partnership gave him the resources to reach a broader audience without fully surrendering the raw edge of his early work. His first major move was releasing Trilogy in November 2012, a compilation album that packaged remastered versions of his 3 mixtapes with 3 new tracks. The album was a bold statement, introducing his underground sound to mainstream listeners. It debuted at number 4 on the US Billboard 200 and number 5 on the Canadian Albums Chart, selling 86,000 copies in its first week. By 2013, it had gone platinum in the US and double platinum in Canada, a testament to its crossover appeal. Songs like Wicked Games and The Morning became fan favorites, showcasing his soaring falsetto and lyrics about love, drugs, and existential despair. His Ethiopian-influenced vibrato, rooted in the soulful melodies of his childhood, added a haunting emotional depth that set him apart from other R&B artists. Trilogy was more than a repackaging. It was a declaration that The Weeknd could compete on a bigger stage while staying true to his roots. Critics praised the album's cohesion, with Rolling Stone calling it a dark masterpiece, and Pitchfork noting its ability to bridge indie and mainstream audiences. For Abel, the success of Trilogy was validation of his gamble to leave Scarborough and pursue music. But it also brought new pressures to evolve. In 2013, The Weeknd released his debut studio album, Kissland, a project that marked his first attempt to create something new rather than build on his mixtapes. The album explored themes of fame, isolation, and hedonism, reflecting Abel's experiences as he adjusted to life in the spotlight. Inspired by his travels, particularly a trip to Japan, Kissland leaned into cinematic and electronic influences, with lush production and moody soundscapes. Singles like the title track and Live For, featuring Drake, aimed for a broader audience but didn't capture the raw magic of his earlier work. The album debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, selling 96,000 copies in its first week. A solid showing but less impactful than Trilogy. Critics were mixed. Some, like The Guardian, praised its ambition, while others, including NME, felt it lacked the visceral punch of his mixtapes. Abel later admitted in a 2015 Complex interview that Kissland was a transitional project, reflecting his struggle to find his place in the industry. "I was figuring out who I was as an artist," he said. He worked closely with Republic Records to craft more accessible songs, a shift from the DIY approach of his early days. His vocal range, spanning from a bass F2, to a tenor G-sharp, G-sharp 5, became a standout feature, with his Ethiopian-influenced melisma adding emotional weight. Despite its lukewarm reception, Kissland showed Abel's willingness to experiment, blending R&B with elements of synthpop and post-punk. He supported the album with his first major tour, the Kissland Fall Tour, performing in larger venues across North America and Europe. The tour was a learning experience, as he grappled with stage fright and the demands of performing for thousands. His dreadlocks, grown since 2011, became a signature look, adding to his enigmatic persona. Kissland may not have been a home run, but it was a crucial step in his evolution, proving he could take risks even if they didn't always pay off. The turning point came in 2015 with Beauty Behind the Madness, The Weeknd's second studio album and his leap into pop superstardom. This album balanced his dark R&B roots with radio-friendly hits, showcasing his ability to craft songs that were both introspective and universally appealing. Lead singles like Earned It, written for the 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack, The Hills, and Can't Feel My Face became massive hits, with the latter two reaching number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Can't Feel My Face, with its infectious beat and veiled references to drug use, became a summer anthem, earning praise from critics like Billboard for its Michael Jackson-inspired groove. The album sold 1.5 million copies worldwide in 2015, making it the 10th best-selling album of the year, and has since surpassed 2 million copies in the US. Collaborations with artists like Lana Del Rey on Prisoner and Ed Sheeran on Dark Times added variety. While producers like Max Martin brought a polished pop sheen, Abel's lyrics remained raw, exploring addiction, heartbreak, and self-destruction, but the production was slicker, designed for arenas and radio. Beauty Behind the Madness earned him his first Grammy Awards in 2016, Best Urban Contemporary Album and Best R&B Performance for Earned It, and cemented his status as a global star. The Madness Fall Tour, his third concert tour, saw him performing to sold-out crowds, with elaborate stage setups that reflected his growing confidence. Critics noted his evolution, with the New York Times calling the album a bold step into the mainstream without losing his edge. For Abel, the success was bittersweet. He told Rolling Stone in 2015 that fame felt overwhelming, as he was still the shy kid from Scarborough at heart. Yet, the album's success proved he could compete with the biggest names in music while retaining his emotional core. In 2016, The Weeknd took his sound in a new direction with Starboy, his third studio album, which embraced electronic, funk, and pop influences, inspired by artists like David Bowie and The Smiths. The album was a departure from the moody R&B of his earlier work. The title track, Starboy, featuring French duo Daft Punk, became a global smash, reaching #1 in multiple countries, including the US and UK. Other singles, like I Feel It Coming and Party Monster, showcased his versatility, blending danceable beats with introspective lyrics. The album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, selling 348,000 units in its first week, and went on to sell over 3 million copies worldwide. It won Best Urban Contemporary Album at the 2018 Grammy Awards, further solidifying his dominance. To promote Starboy, Abel released a 12-minute short film, Mania, directed by Grant Singer, featuring songs like All I Know and Sidewalks. The film's cinematic visuals, with dark, surreal imagery, reflected his love for storytelling, rooted in his childhood dreams of filmmaking. The Starboy, Legend of the Fall Tour, his fifth concert tour, was his most ambitious yet. Spanning North America, Europe, and Asia, he performed in massive venues, with elaborate light shows and a stage shaped like a spaceship, a nod to the album's futuristic vibe. By this time, Abel had cut his iconic dreadlocks, a symbolic move signaling a new chapter. The hair was holding me back, he told Billboard in 2016. It was time to evolve. The decision shocked fans but reflected his desire to shed the mysterious persona of his early days and embrace his role as a pop icon. Starboy marked The Weeknd at the peak of his commercial success, with over 75 million records sold globally by 2018. According to industry estimates, throughout this period, The Weeknd's collaborations expanded his influence. In 2016, he worked with Kanye West on FML, from *The Life of Pablo, and Beyoncé on 6" from Lemonade, showcasing his ability to blend his sound with hip-hop and pop. In 2018, he teamed up with Kendrick Lamar for Pray For Me from the Black Panther soundtrack, a track that peaked at #7 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became an anthem for empowerment. These collaborations highlighted his versatility and cemented his place in the music industry's elite. Critics began to recognize his broader impact, with veteran R&B artist Babyface praising him in a 2017 Variety interview for broadening the palette of R&B. Terms like alternative R&B and PBR&B emerged to describe his hipster-friendly sound, which blended indie rock, electronic, and soul influences. His music inspired a new generation of artists, from Bryson Tiller to SZA, who adopted his moody, introspective style. Abel's ability to evolve while staying true to his emotional core kept him at the forefront of the industry, even as he faced the challenges of fame. As his star rose, Abel's personal life came under scrutiny. In 2015, he began an on-again, off-again relationship with model Bella Hadid, who appeared in his In the Night music video. Their romance, marked by breakups and reconciliations, drew tabloid attention, especially after Abel started dating singer-actress Selena Gomez in 2017. The couple's high-profile relationship, including a red carpet appearance at the Met Gala, captivated fans but ended after 10 months. Abel channeled the heartbreak into his 2018 EP My Dear Melancholy, a 6-track project that returned to his raw, mixtape-era sound. The lead single, Call Out My Name, widely believed to be about Gomez, became the biggest first-day streaming song on Spotify in 2018. With nearly 3.5 million streams, the EP's raw emotion resonated with fans, proving Abel could still tap into the vulnerability of his early work. Despite his fame, he remained guarded, avoiding interviews and preferring to communicate through social media. In a 2020 Variety interview, he admitted that his shyness stemmed from insecurities about his appearance and voice. But fame forced him to open up slightly. He also began embracing his Ethiopian heritage more publicly, incorporating Amharic phrases and cultural references into his music. His dreadlocks, a symbol of his early persona, were gone by 2016, but his connection to his roots remained strong, evident in the soulful melisma of his vocals. The period from 2012 to 2018 was a whirlwind for Abel, as he navigated the transition from underground artist to global superstar. Trilogy brought his mixtape sound to the mainstream, while Kiss Land showed his willingness to take risks, even if they didn't fully land. Beauty Behind the Madness and Asterisk Starboy made him a household name, with chart-topping hits and Grammy wins. Collaborations with Drake, Beyoncé, and Kendrick Lamar expanded his reach, while his personal life, though private, became part of his narrative. By 2018, The Weeknd was no longer the mysterious figure of his YouTube days. He was a confident artist ready to push boundaries further, setting the stage for the next chapter of his career. By 2018, Abel Tesfaye, known as The Weeknd, had transformed from an underground sensation into a global pop icon, with chart-topping albums like Beauty Behind the Madness and Starboy cementing his place in the music industry. The years from 2019 to 2025 marked a new chapter of artistic reinvention, cultural impact, and personal growth, as he pushed creative boundaries, embraced his cinematic ambitions, and used his platform for social good. This period saw the release of After Hours and Dawn FM, albums that blended nostalgic synthpop with his signature R&B, earning critical acclaim and record-breaking streams. His Super Bowl halftime performance, acting ventures, and philanthropy elevated him to a cultural powerhouse, while his ability to weave personal struggles into his art deepened his connection with fans. Through bold risks, controversies, and a commitment to his Ethiopian heritage, The Weeknd solidified his legacy as one of the defining artists of his generation, setting the stage for a trilogy that would cap this transformative era. The release of After Hours in March 2020 was a pivotal moment, marking a bold reinvention of The Weeknd's sound and image. Inspired by 1980s synthpop, new wave, and films like Martin Scorsese's After Hours and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. The album introduced a new aesthetic, a red-suited, bloodied character who embodied Abel's inner turmoil. This persona, with its retro sunglasses and bandaged face, became a visual hallmark, reflecting themes of heartbreak, excess, and redemption. The album's singles, Heartless, Blinding Lights, and Save Your Tears, were massive hits, with Blinding Lights becoming his first #1 single in the UK and one of the longest-charting songs in Billboard Hot 100 history. Spending 90 weeks on the chart, Blinding Lights alone amassed over 4 billion Spotify streams by 2025, making it one of the most streamed songs ever. After Hours debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, selling 444,000 units in its first week, and was certified triple platinum in the US. Critics praised its cohesive narrative and polished production, with Rolling Stone calling it The Weeknd's most confident work yet, and Pitchfork lauding its cinematic ambition. Abel's vocals, with their soaring falsetto and Ethiopian-influenced melisma, brought emotional depth to tracks like Scared to Live and Faith, which drew from his breakup with Selena Gomez and struggles with addiction. The album's retro sound, driven by producers like Max Martin and Metro Boomin, blended nostalgic synths with modern R&B, creating a timeless yet fresh vibe. Despite its commercial and critical success, After Hours was controversially snubbed at the 2021 Grammy Awards, a decision that sparked widespread debate. Abel publicly criticized the Recording Academy for its lack of transparency, tweeting, "The Grammys remain corrupt. You owe me, my fans, and the industry transparency." He later announced he would boycott future Grammy submissions, a bold move that resonated with fans and artists alike, highlighting his willingness to stand up for his principles. Instead of awards, he focused on his art, releasing visually stunning music videos for Blinding Lights and In Your Eyes that continued the album's cinematic storyline. The After Hours era showed The Weeknd at his creative peak, blending music and storytelling in a way that captivated millions. In February 2021, The Weeknd headlined the Super Bowl 55 halftime show in Tampa, Florida, a milestone that solidified his status as a global icon. Performing to a pandemic-restricted audience of 25,000. He delivered a 14-minute set featuring hits like Starboy, The Hills, and Blinding Lights. The performance was a visual spectacle, with a choir in glowing masks, a maze of mirrors, and Abel's bandaged persona weaving through a surreal cityscape. He invested $7 million of his own money to enhance the production, ensuring a memorable show despite COVID-19 restrictions. The performance drew 96 million viewers worldwide, and Toronto's mayor declared February 7, 2021, the Weekend Day, to celebrate his achievement. Critics praised the show's energy and creativity, with Variety calling it a masterclass in pop spectacle. The Super Bowl performance wasn't just a career highlight, it was a cultural moment that showcased Abel's ability to captivate massive audiences. It also marked a turning point in his public persona, as he embraced the spotlight with newfound confidence, a far cry from the shy artist who once hid behind anonymous YouTube uploads. In January 2022, The Weeknd released Dawn FM, his fifth studio album, which took his artistry to new heights. Conceived as a radio broadcast from a purgatory-like afterlife, the album featured narration by Jim Carrey, whose soothing voice tied the tracks together, and collaborations with artists like Tyler, The Creator, Lil Wayne, and Quincy Jones. Singles like Take My Breath and Sacrifice leaned heavily into synthpop and disco influences, continuing the 80s-inspired sound of After Hours. The album debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, selling 148,000 units in its first week, and was praised for its cohesive narrative and innovative production. The New York Times called it a conceptual triumph, noting its exploration of regret, mortality, and self-reflection. Abel's vocals, with their high-flying falsetto and Ethiopian-inspired melisma, shone on tracks like Out of Time and Less Than Zero, blending emotional depth with danceable rhythms. To promote Dawn FM, he released the Dawn FM Experience, a televised special on Amazon Prime, featuring immersive visuals and live performances. The Dawn FM World Tour, announced for 2022, was delayed due to production issues but eventually launched in 2023. Featuring elaborate stage designs inspired by the album's Afterlife theme, the tour sold out arenas worldwide, from Madison Square Garden to London's Wembley Stadium, showcasing Abel's evolution into a commanding performer. Dawn FM was another critical and commercial success, earning nominations for Album of the Year at the 2023 Juno Awards and further solidifying his influence. Beyond music, Abel pursued his childhood dream of working in film. In 2019, he made his acting debut with a cameo in Uncut Gems, playing himself alongside Adam Sandler in a tense nightclub scene. The role, though small, was a nod to his growing cultural presence and earned praise from directors Josh and Benny Safdie for his natural charisma. In 2023, he took a bigger leap, co-creating, co-producing, and starring in the HBO series The Idol, playing Tedros, a manipulative nightclub owner. The show, co-starring Lily Rose Depp, explored themes of fame and exploitation in the music industry. Despite high anticipation, The Idol received mixed reviews for its provocative content and was cancelled after one season. Critics like The Hollywood Reporter called it uneven and overly sensational. But Abel viewed it as a learning experience, telling Variety in 2023, "I took a risk, and that's what art's about." His most ambitious acting project came in 2025 with Hurry Up Tomorrow, a psychological thriller inspired by a real-life incident in September 2022 when he lost his voice during a Los Angeles concert. The film, also starring Jenna Ortega and Barry Keoghan, explored themes of identity, mental health, and sleep paralysis, with Abel playing a fictionalized version of himself. The accompanying album, Hurry Up Tomorrow, released in January 2025, completed a trilogy with After Hours and Dawn FM. The lead single, Dancing in the Flames, continued his synth-pop evolution, with pulsating beats and introspective lyrics. Critics praised the album's cinematic quality, with NME calling it a fitting capstone to an ambitious trilogy. The film and album drew from Abel's personal struggles, particularly the 2022 voice loss, which triggered a mental breakdown and identity crisis. He told The Fader in 2025 that sleep paralysis, a recurring issue for him, was the enemy in the film, reflecting his inner battles. These projects showcased his ability to turn personal pain into art, fulfilling his childhood filmmaking dreams while deepening his musical legacy. The Weeknd's cultural impact during this period was undeniable. In 2020, Time magazine named him one of the world's most influential people, citing his genre-defying music and global reach. In 2023, Guinness World Records declared him the world's most popular artist, based on streaming numbers. With over 100 million monthly Spotify listeners, a first for any artist. His aesthetic, from the bandaged After Hours character to his sleek suits, set fashion trends, and his music videos, often directed by Grant Singer, redefined visual storytelling with their cinematic scope. In 2022, he collaborated with Universal Studios for The Weeknd, Nightmare Haunted House at Halloween Horror Nights. Blending his music with immersive horror elements, his Ethiopian heritage remained a cornerstone, with Amharic phrases and cultural references woven into his work, raising awareness of East African culture. He also used his platform for philanthropy, becoming a World Food Program Goodwill Ambassador in 2021 and donating millions to causes like hunger relief, racial equality, and Music Cares. His support for Black Lives Matter in Ethiopian communities reflected his roots and childhood struggles, earning him admiration as a socially conscious artist. Despite controversies, like the Grammy snub and the Idol's backlash, Abel's resilience shone through. He turned criticism into fuel, focusing on his art and fans. By 2025, with over 75 million records sold, 4 Grammy Awards, 20 Billboard Music Awards, and 22 Juno Awards, The Weeknd had redefined R&B, blending it with pop, electronic, and Ethiopian influences. His After Hours and Dawn FM era, capped by the Hurry Up Tomorrow trilogy, showcased his ability to evolve while staying true to his emotional core, cementing his status as a cultural powerhouse and setting the stage for his enduring legacy. By 2019, Abel Tesfaye, known as The Weeknd, had solidified his status as a global superstar, with chart-topping albums, sold-out tours, and a cultural presence that transcended music. The years from 2019 to 2025 were not just about artistic triumphs but also about personal growth. As Abel confronted his insecurities, navigated high-profile relationships, and faced mental health challenges that shaped his life and work, this period saw him evolve from the shy, reclusive artist of his early days into a confident figure who used his platform to address personal and social issues. Through music, film, and philanthropy, he turned personal struggles into art, balancing the pressures of fame with a deepening sense of purpose. From overcoming his fear of the spotlight to channeling a traumatic voice loss into a creative masterpiece, Abel's journey during this time revealed a man wrestling with his past while building a legacy for the future. Abel's shyness had been a defining trait since childhood, rooted in insecurities about his appearance and voice. As a teen in Scarborough, he felt like an outsider, retreating into comic books and music to escape. Even as The Weeknd gained fame, he avoided interviews and public appearances, preferring the anonymity of his early YouTube uploads. "I hated how I looked in pictures," he told Complex in 2013. "I was very camera shy." His dreadlocks, grown since 2011, became a shield, part of the enigmatic persona that kept fans at a distance. The release of Asterisk Trilogy and Asterisk Beauty Behind the Madness forced him into the spotlight. But he struggled with the attention. His first major interview with Complex in 2013 was a turning point, where he opened up about his Scarborough roots, his Ethiopian heritage, and the intentional mystery of his persona. By 2020, he told Variety that fame had pushed him to confront these insecurities. Though he remained selective about interviews, "I'm still figuring out how to be a public person," he admitted. The After Hours era, with its red-suited, bandaged character, was a way to channel his vulnerability into art, using the persona to express pain and redemption. Cutting his dreadlocks in 2016 had already signaled a shift. But by 2019, he was embracing a more polished image, trading hoodies for tailored suits. This evolution was evident in his Super Bowl 55 halftime performance in 2021, where he commanded the stage with confidence. a far cry from the nervous performer at Toronto's Mod Club in 2011. Yet, even as he grew comfortable in the spotlight, Abel remained introspective, using music as a diary to process his emotions. Songs like Scared to Live from After Hours and Less Than Zero from Dawn FM revealed a man grappling with regret and self-doubt. Showing that fame hadn't erased the shy kid from Scarborough. Abel's personal life, though guarded, became a focal point during this period, drawing intense media scrutiny. His on-again, off-again relationship with model Bella Hadid, which began in 2015, was a roller coaster that played out in the public eye. Hadid starred in his In the Night music video, and their chemistry was undeniable. But the pressures of fame strained their bond. They broke up in 2016, reconciled briefly in 2018, and split again in 2019. The emotional toll was evident in his 2018 EP My Dear Melancholy, particularly in Call Out My Name, a raw ballad widely believed to reference their breakup. In 2017, Abel began dating singer-actress Selena Gomez, a relationship that captivated tabloids. The couple made headlines with appearances at Coachella and the Met Gala. But their romance ended after 10 months. The breakup inspired much of My Dear Melancholy, with tracks like Wasted Times, reflecting on lost love. Abel's ability to turn heartbreak into art resonated with fans, and the EP's lead single became Spotify's biggest first-day streaming song of 2018, with nearly 3.5 million streams. In 2022, he began a quieter relationship with DJ and entrepreneur Simi Khadra, spotted together at his birthday party and Coachella 2023. Unlike his earlier high-profile romances, Abel kept this relationship private, signaling a desire to shield his personal life from the spotlight. He told Billboard in 2025, "I've learned to keep some things for myself. Fame makes that hard, but I'm trying." These relationships, while fodder for gossip columns, showed his growth in navigating love under public scrutiny, learning to balance vulnerability with privacy. A defining challenge came in September 2022, when Abel lost his voice during a concert at Sophie Stadium in Los Angeles. Mid-performance, his voice gave out, forcing him to stop the show and apologize to fans. The incident was more than a physical setback, it triggered a mental breakdown and identity crisis. "That moment broke me," he told The Fader in 2025. "I thought, what am I without my voice?" The experience plunged him into a period of self-doubt, compounded by recurring sleep paralysis, a condition he had struggled with for years. He described sleep paralysis as the enemy, a haunting presence that left him feeling trapped in his own body. This trauma became the inspiration for his 2025 film and album Hurry Up Tomorrow, which explored themes of identity, mental health, and existential dread. The film, co-starring Jenna Ortega and Barry Cogan, depicted a fictionalized version of Abel grappling with these issues, while the album, the final chapter of a trilogy with After Hours and Dawn FM, used pulsating synthpop to delve into his psyche. Tracks like Dancing in the Flames blended introspective lyrics with danceable beats, earning praise from NME for their emotional depth. Abel described music as his therapy, telling The Fader, "Music is direct, it's how I process things film can't capture." The voice loss incident forced him to confront his mortality as an artist, but it also sparked a creative renaissance, proving his ability to turn adversity into art. His openness about mental health resonated with fans, who saw him as a relatable figure despite his superstar status. Navigating fame was another hurdle. Abel never expected his music to reach such heights. Having started as a way to express his feelings in Scarborough, it was just a diary. He told Billboard in 2025, "I didn't think it'd be this big." The transition from underground artist to global star required constant adaptation. After Starboy, he moved from Toronto to Los Angeles, later settling in Bel Air, embracing a lifestyle far removed from ascendant to fame. But he remained grounded in his roots. His music continued to reflect his Ethiopian heritage, with Amharic phrases and soulful melisma woven into his vocals. He cited influences like Michael Jackson, Prince, and Ethiopian singer Aster Awek, blending their styles with his own. His vocal range, from a bass F2, to a tenor G-sharp 5, remained a hallmark. earning praise from critics like Rolling Stone for its emotional power. Yet, fame brought expectations that clashed with his introspective nature. He learned to balance his artistic vision with commercial demands, returning to his alternative R&B roots with After Hours after the pop-heavy Starboy. His ability to evolve while staying authentic was evident in *Dawn FM, where he explored maturity and redemption, a far cry from the reckless hedonism of his early work. This growth was deliberate, reflecting his desire to move beyond the sad boy image of his youth. Philanthropy became a source of personal fulfillment during this period. In 2021, Abel was named a World Food Program Goodwill Ambassador, donating millions to fight hunger, a cause close to his heart given his childhood struggles in Scarborough. He also supported Black Lives Matter, Music Cares, and Ethiopian communities, reflecting his commitment to social issues. His donations, including $1 million to hunger relief in Ethiopia in 2021, showed a man using his $300 million net worth per celebrity net worth in 2025 to make a difference. His Ethiopian heritage was a point of pride, evident in his music and public statements. At the 2021 Juno Awards, he spoke in Amharic, thanking his fans and honoring his roots. These efforts gave him purpose beyond fame, grounding him in a sense of responsibility. His fashion influence also grew, with the sleek suits of the After Hours era replacing his earlier dreadlocked look, setting trends in pop culture. His ability to juggle music, film, and philanthropy showed a maturing artist, no longer the rebellious teen of Parkdale but a global figure with a mission. The period from 2019 to 2025 was a testament to Abel's personal growth. He overcame shyness through bold performances like the Super Bowl, turning his insecurities into artistic strength. His relationships with Bella Hadid and Selena Gomez, though public, fueled vulnerable music, while his quieter romance with Simi Khadra showed a desire for privacy. The 2022 voice loss incident was a low point, but it inspired Hurry Up Tomorrow, a creative triumph that tackled mental health and identity. His philanthropy and cultural pride deepened his impact, while his music evolved from reckless youth to introspective maturity. By 2025, Abel had grown into a confident, multifaceted artist, using his platform to navigate fame, process pain, and give back, setting the stage for a lasting legacy rooted in resilience and authenticity. By 2025, Abel Tesfaye, known as The Weeknd, had carved out a legacy as one of the most influential artists of his generation. With a career that spanned groundbreaking music, cinematic ventures, and a profound cultural impact, from his anonymous YouTube uploads in 2010 to headlining the Super Bowl and earning global accolades, his journey from a shy Scarborough teen to a global icon was a testament to resilience, creativity, and authenticity. The period from 2019 to 2025, culminating in the release of *Hurry Up Tomorrow, solidified his place in music history, as he redefined R&B, embraced his Ethiopian heritage, and used his platform for social good. This final chapter explores his enduring legacy, the controversies he faced, his cultural and social contributions, and his prospects for the future, as he hinted at retiring the Weeknd persona while continuing to create. With over 75 million records sold, 4 Grammy Awards, and a net worth of $300 million, Abel's story is one of transformation, proving that a kid from a tough neighborhood could change the world through art. The Weeknd's impact on music was monumental, reshaping R&B and influencing a generation of artists. By 2025, he had sold over 75 million records worldwide, with albums like Beauty Behind the Madness, Starboy, and After Hours dominating charts and streaming platforms. His ability to blend R&B with pop, electronic, and indie influences created a new subgenre often dubbed alternative R&B, or PBR&B, a nod to its hipster-friendly appeal. Critics like Andy Kellman of *AllMusic* praised him for expanding R&B's boundaries, incorporating moody synths, post-punk elements, and Ethiopian-inspired vocal melisma. His influence was evident in artists like SZA, Bryson Tiller, and Khalid, who adopted his introspective, atmospheric style. His chart achievements were staggering, He held the record for the most #1 songs on the Billboard Hot R&B Songs chart until Chris Brown surpassed him in 2022. And Blinding Lights became one of the longest charting songs in Billboard Hot 100 history, with 90 weeks on the chart and over 4 billion Spotify streams. In 2023, he became the first artist to reach 100 million monthly Spotify listeners, a milestone recognized by Guinness World Records, which named him the world's most popular artist. Rolling Stone ranked him number 110 on its 2023 list of the 200 greatest singers, lauding his haunting, Ethiopian-inflected voice and emotional range, from a bass F2, to a tenor G-sharp, G-sharp 5. His 4 Grammy Awards, 20 Billboard Music Awards, and 22 Juno Awards underscored his dominance. But his impact went beyond numbers. Veteran R&B artist Babyface, in a 2017 Variety interview, called him a trailblazer for blending traditional R&B with innovative sounds, while younger artists cited him as a blueprint for taking risks. The Weeknd's music, with its raw exploration of love, addiction, and existential dread, connected with fans globally, offering a soundtrack for the lost and the searching. His cultural influence extended far beyond music, shaping fashion, film, and pop culture. The dreadlocks of his early years, grown from 2011 to 2016, became iconic, symbolizing his mysterious persona, while his later aesthetic, sleek suits, retro sunglasses, and the bandaged look of After Hours set trends. His music videos, often directed by Grant Singer, were cinematic masterpieces, blending surreal imagery with storytelling. As seen in Blinding Lights and Starboy, his love for film, rooted in childhood dreams of becoming a filmmaker, manifested in projects like Uncut Gems, 2019, where he played himself, and The Idol, 2023, where he starred as a shady nightclub owner. Though The Idol was criticized for its provocative content and cancelled after 1 season, Abel saw it as a bold experiment, telling Variety in 2023, "Art's about taking risks, even if it doesn't land." His 2025 film Hurry Up Tomorrow, co-starring Jenna Ortega and Barry Keoghan, was a critical success, exploring identity and mental health through a fictionalized version of himself. The film's companion album, also titled Hurry Up Tomorrow, completed a trilogy with After Hours and Dawn FM, earning praise from NME as a cinematic capstone. Collaborations with artists like Future and Playboi Carti added modern flair, while the lead single, Dancing in the Flames, blended synth pop with introspective lyrics. His 2022 collaboration with Universal Studios for The Weeknd, Nightmare Haunted House at Halloween Horror Nights, showed his ability to merge music with immersive storytelling, delighting fans with a horror-themed experience. His Ethiopian heritage remained a cornerstone, with Amharic phrases and soulful melisma woven into his work, raising awareness of East African culture. In 2021, he spoke in Amharic at the Juno Awards, thanking fans and honoring his roots, a moment that resonated with Ethiopian diaspora communities. His influence was recognized by Time magazine in 2020, naming him one of the world's most influential people for his genre-defying music and cultural impact. The Weeknd's philanthropy was a vital part of his legacy, reflecting his desire to give back. Named a World Food Program Goodwill Ambassador in 2021, he donated millions to fight hunger, inspired by his childhood struggles in Scarborough, where his family relied on his mother's modest income. He contributed $1 million to hunger relief in Ethiopia in 2021. Alongside funds for Black Lives Matter, Music Cares, and other causes, his support for racial equality and Ethiopian communities showed a commitment to social justice, earning admiration from fans and peers. "I know what it's like to go without," he told Billboard in 2025, reflecting on his donations. His philanthropy gave him purpose, grounding his fame in a sense of responsibility. He also used his platform to amplify underrepresented voices, collaborating with Black and East African artists and highlighting issues like food insecurity. These efforts made him a role model, proving that success could be a force for good. Despite his achievements, The Weeknd faced controversies that tested his resilience. The 2021 Grammy snub for After Hours, despite its commercial and critical success, sparked outrage among fans and artists. Abel called out the Recording Academy's lack of transparency, tweeting, "The Grammys remain corrupt," and vowed to boycott future submissions. The move was bold, resonating with those frustrated by the award's politics, and it underscored his commitment to integrity. The Idol in 2023 was another flashpoint, with critics slamming its explicit content and uneven storytelling. Abel took the criticism in stride, viewing it as part of his artistic journey. His lyrics, often raw and explicit, drew both praise and backlash, with some accusing him of glorifying sex and drugs. He addressed this in a 2025 Billboard interview, saying, "I don't think I'd ever apologize for music I make. No, but there are regrets in my life, of course. And you write about it." His honesty kept his music authentic, even when it sparked debate. The 2022 voice loss incident during a Los Angeles concert, which inspired Hurry Up Tomorrow, was another challenge, triggering a mental health crisis. Yet, Abel turned it into art, using the experience to explore themes of identity and fear, proving his ability to transform pain into creativity. The Hurry Up Tomorrow project, released in January 2025, was a high point, completing a trilogy that began with After Hours and Dawn FM. The album and film explored existential themes, drawing from his 2022 voice loss and struggles with sleep paralysis. Critics hailed its cohesive narrative and bold production, with the New York Times calling it a masterwork of introspection. Abel hinted that Hurry Up Tomorrow might be his final project as The Weeknd, telling The Fader, "I'm ready to close this chapter, but I'll keep making music." The announcement sparked speculation about his future. Would he retire the persona and create under a new name, or shift entirely to film? At 35, with a net worth of $300 million per celebrity net worth, Abel was at a crossroads. His personal life showed stability, with a low-key relationship with DJ Simi Khadra, spotted together at events like Coachella 2023. He expressed a desire to focus on personal growth, telling Billboard, "I want to build something that lasts beyond me." His move to Bel Air and continued philanthropy suggested a man balancing fame with purpose. Fans speculated about his next move, with some hoping for a return to his darker, mixtape-era sound, while others anticipated more pop or cinematic experiments. The Weeknd's legacy is one of transformation and impact. From Scarborough's streets to global arenas, he redefined R&B, blending it with Ethiopian influences, pop and electronic sounds. His cultural contributions, from fashion to film, and his philanthropy, from hunger relief to racial justice, made him a multifaceted icon. Controversies like the Grammy snub and the Idol's backlash only strengthened his resolve, while personal struggles fueled his art. The Hurry Up Tomorrow trilogy marked a creative peak, showing his ability to weave personal and universal themes. As he looks to the future, whether as The Weeknd or a new persona, Abel Tesfayer's story is a testament to the power of music to transcend hardship, inspire millions, and leave a lasting mark on the world.